123-18 pour Mathieu Fallon. Un petit peu plus bas, encore.
Bonjour à tous, c'est la 7e remontée impossible. Je crois que je les ai toutes faites. ben, je trouve que c'est une réussite pour le nombre important de gens qui sont ici et que j'espère que tout se déroulera bien et qu'il n'y aura pas d'orage comme il y a 5 ans. Vous l'avez fallu partir en courant. Bonne journée à tous.
Merci, monsieur le député maire. Eh oui, non, le soleil va venir. Regardez, c'est les nuages qui passent. S'arrêter là. Ça va, pas de bobo? Ça va, Cyril? Lève la main. Ouais. Ok. Oh, ça va bien aussi là. Et là. Eh ben il va nous faire un taille, allez. C'est plus de monter impossible. Allez, Dadou, reviens vite pour le public. Dadou, elle est contente. Allez, c'est au tour de Bolex, il me semble. Alexandre Morel. Allez, Bolex, on y va, on y va. Oui, ça.
This is Erzberg, the infamous Iron Giant. It is known as the crown jewel of a sport called hard enduro. Now, every year it challenges competitors from around the world as they attempt to navigate and tackle this collection of rock and boulder debris. Of the 1,800 humans that enter, 500 qualify, and last year, only 5 of them finished. 4 of them had to join forces to overcome the most treacherous course ever seen in the 22-year history of this event. But my friends, this is a new year. And although those top competitors have shown that they embody the true spirit of sportsmanship, they also want to stand on the top of the podium by themselves. This is Hare Scramble, and you're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
This Monday.
Hey everybody, Sal Master Kelly here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to Eisenerz, Austria. Nestled in the Alps, this huge open-air pit mine, known affectionately as the Iron Giant, ceases operations once a year for the Erzberg Rodeo and culminates in the Hare Scramble. If this opponent weren't formidable enough, if there is an antagonist in addition to the mountain, it's this man, Karl Katak, who seeks to wreak even more havoc on the riders than the mountain. He's the event organizer and creator of the course, and each year he just tries to make it harder than the previous year. Last year, Uncle Karl added not only a double helping of the boulder field known as Karl's Dinner, but he also devised a new final section simply labeled Downtown, never ridden or attempted before by anyone. Now, to the dismay of Uncle Karl, the top riders, Johnny Walker, Andreas Lettenbichler, Graham Jarvis, and Alfredo Gomez, unable to navigate the new obstacle, joined forces and assisted each other through this section, thereby displaying the ultimate example of sportsmanship and a nod to Uncle Karl that, hey, we're gonna have the last word, as they finished the race together. Now, each took their turn holding up that famous trophy, which is just a piece of rock from the mountain, and not only won the day, but the crowd. Uncle Karl, not so happy. So, in 2016, the big question, what will Uncle Karl have in store for them this time? The silent assassin, Jarvis, he is here. The Spaniard, Gomez, who's coming off of his first win in the Hard Enduro Series in Brazil, he's here. However, the big story, three-time winner and favorite Johnny Walker, still recovering from fracturing his right leg just over 6 weeks ago. He's out of the race. We have a young American contingent as well, including Colton Hocker and Cody Webb, who look to be the dark horses as well as the first Americans ever in history to possibly podium here in Erzberg. Karl's about to drop that start flag, so we're going to check in with the legendary voice of Lee Diffie and Motorsports Hall of Famer, Mr. Ricky Johnson.
Sal, thanks very much. We look forward to this event each and every year, and one thing that's not lost on us nor the competitors is the enormity of the event. Someone who feels the same is our Tina Dixon. Tina?
Guys, this is what the start looks and sounds like. It's like 500 thoroughbred horses fighting at the bit to get out on the track. A lot of anticipation. Now, the one rider that is missing out of all of this, it's Johnny Walker. He's a three-time champion, and he's really set the standard for what hard enduro racing can look like. Well, what does that mean with him out? It means that this field, the guys behind me, it's wide open. There are more than a handful of guys that can win this, but the whole shot, this start, it's going to be key, guys. Let's get to it.
Tina, it really is going to be key. And the man behind this event, Karl Katak, waves the flag, RJ, for the first wave.
And ironically, he throws a checkered flag to start the race, because starting this race is enormous. And you can see getting a whole shot is so important because of all the traffic. Right now, the dirt is in great condition. We've had some good weather, but the whole shot is oh so important.
On board with Tadej Blazusiak running second, the five-time winner of the Hare Scramble knows the importance of being out in front and having a clear track ahead. And that's something he did not have this time last year.
Start is a big part of any race, and you know, being up front, you know, with no dust or mud, whatever it's going to be tomorrow, it's always an advantage. So it's definitely, you know, something important, you know, to try to go for that whole shot, and definitely that's the plan, and we'll see if it's going to work. But hey, this is racing. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, watching him attack the track, it's a lot like a motocross race, and you want to get out in front and break away as much as you can, but it's a fine balance, Lee. If you go out too hard, you get arm pump, you start breathing, you could get anaerobic. There's a lot of mileage left. 20 miles doesn't seem like a long ways, but it definitely will work you out over the day.
What about these opening sequence of hills, as steep as they are, as Blazusiak gets stuck?
Exactly. He bumps just a little bit to the left, falls in the rut, and he gets stuck, and he loses 3 positions. Not only that, he has to exert all that muscle energy to get himself unstuck.
Do you remember at the top of the show, Sal highlighted young American Cody Webb as one to watch in this year's race? Well, he is already off to a great start and in that lead group of 5. Time now, though, Ricky, to take a closer look at the first part of the Iron Giant.
As we look at this beast, there's so many different obstacles. We have water pipe, the elevator, machine, Karl's Dinner, dynamite, and lazy easy noon, and all the way after that, after 20 miles, we get to the finish line. But the elevation, these guys have to do over 2,000 feet vertical, climbing back and forth and up and down the hills. So it's not just a matter of racing against all of these riders, it's about the elements the most.
Second wave. Now the first wave of 50 is already gone. This is the beginning of the second wave, and we ride with teenage sensation from the UK, Billy Bolt.
Lee, the word around the pits that this is the next Johnny Walker. He's a trial sensation from the UK. This is his first hard enduro, but everyone's looking at him for the future.
So imagine that, those waves of 50 go off at 1 minute intervals, so he's already 1 minute down and he's got another 50 riders up ahead. We mentioned Cody Webb just a short time ago. He's off to a good start, showing good early speed.
Well, and watch how he uses his body. Cody's a very, very tall, slender, very similar to Johnny Walker, but notice how he uses his legs to balance the bike and also keep energy off his hands, because you have to hold on to the handlebars, but it's the body positioning and the balance of your legs that's going to make it through these 20 miles.
He's just finished his final exam as well for his mechanical engineering degree. So we wish him well in graduating, but this is where his focus is as they get to stretch their legs early on.
Back with Taddy, you can see that they're already starting to manage and use their body to relax. You can see Taddy's running very, very aggressive right now. He does not want to waste any time.
And running aggressive because he wants to get that lead back. He's second, chasing Webb. And at this stage of the race, Ricky, where would you want to be, first or second?
There's two ways to look at this, Lee. I would like to be second because I don't exactly know where everything's going, and I can watch the rider in front of me make mistakes. I know that I have 20 miles to overcome. But to be out in front is a mental advantage, and also you know that you're not going to be getting stuck, but you got to keep up the pace.
That's 20-year-old Wade Young going flying by Paul Bolton. Wade Young now a factory Sherco rider in 2016. Alfredo Gomez, one of the quartet who won last year, is also doing well, but Wade is showing great pace early on.
As you watch the size of Wade, it's a disadvantage on the climbs to carry that much weight and have that much leverage, but when you get to the rocks, when you get to Carl's Dinner, in places like that, that size definitely becomes an advantage.
So Hare Scramble has only just begun. Can Cody Webb keep up the pace, or will the Iron Giant prevail? The first of the technical challenges is coming up. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. As we said a little earlier, the front runners are approaching the first real technical challenge of the Iron Giant. And Ricky, it's the water pipe.
The water pipe is 290 feet with a vertical climb of 137 feet. But you got to remember, this is only 2.3 miles into this 20-mile race. In the first place, we get to watch these riders get challenged and use technique.
Speaking of first place, Wade Young is the new front runner as the South African approaches the water pipe. And as you approach a technical section like this, Ricky, what are you thinking about? What is the biggest component that you've got to bring?
You got to keep moving forward, and that's the biggest thing with this race, is that sometimes it's very easy, as we watch Wade Young navigate through here, to get personal with another rider, cut him off, try to get in front of him and this and that, but you have to deal with the course. As you can see, Wade, as he struggles and he has to carry his momentum, and the dirt is awesome right now, and he gets a good run of water pipe, but everything is about momentum.
Wow, and he had plenty of it. Wade Young clears it. Let's ride with Taddy Bonzuziak. You like what you hear?
I'm loving it. I love the two-strokes, and that's the one thing. Four-strokes have taken over motocross, supercross, GP racing, but two-strokes is the key in hard enduro, and I love to listen to these things.
Just like that, the first three have been incredibly smooth. Alfredo Gomez. Now it's Paul Bolton, who's running in fourth.
If you notice, all the pros do not want to mess. That's the reason why they call it the water pipe, because it is a big water pipe. You do not want to try to ride over those because there's no traction on that stainless steel tube, and it'll spin you right around.
Here he is, the silent assassin, Graham Jarvis. Neatly makes his way up. And then Leon Soleil. And behind him is Cody Webb.
Cody Webb had a little problem here. We see Soleil have to jump over the top of the water pipe, but Cody Webb had a little bit of a problem. Now is working his way back up.
Yeah, it's a good comeback so far from Cody. He lost some time in one of the earlier forest sections, but now is through water pipe clear. And for those behind the likes of Webb, this may look like a mad scramble and a matter of survival, but there is strategy employed here, and there's a technological side of things as well.
In four-wheeled racing, it seems like there's always a lot of tire talk. So why should it be different when it comes to racing on two wheels? They may call this sport hard enduro, but the tires themselves are actually very soft. The bikes and tires here today aren't on some manicured racetrack. Here, resistance to G-forces are less important than traction over a variety of surfaces. In Formula One, there are only 7 possible tire compounds. Here, there are over 50 channel and block patterns on offer for the racers. Low PSI? How about no PSI? Solid bib mousse makes sure that there are no flats on course here today. So make your tire choice wisely, because the rocks, roots, and mud are going to take their toll on them and you. Or you could choose what the regulars around here use, but it's doubtful you'll finish in time.
We're watching Alfredo Gomez as he works his way through the competition, and it doesn't look that steeply, but you can watch how the riders just get stuck. Here we see Wade Young. He's got his wheels stuck in there, and as Gomez squeaks by Taddy, that's where you have to get a little personal sometimes.
And to make up 2 positions through a section like that is superb riding from Red Bull KTM man Alfredo Gomez.
You got to think about a lot of different situations here. With those big rocks, you can break a case, you can pull your brake lever back, you can break your shifter off. There's so many things that can happen. And these are the best riders in the world, and you see how much they're struggling. So it doesn't look real steep, but let me tell you, the difficulty is high because you can see how green it is. The rocks are very wet and slippery.
The thing I noticed there was how much ground Gomez put on Wade Young and Taddy Blazusiak. Let's ride with Taddy.
So you hear his RPMs go up. What he's doing is he's slipping the clutch back and forth, but as soon as it starts to spin, he pulls the clutch in. You want to hear that bogging of the motor because that means traction. It doesn't sound fast, but it is definitely the quick way up these hills.
Look further back, there's Paul Bolton arriving on the scene. And also Graham Jarvis.
If you're a rider in hard enduro and you look back, the last person that you want to see sitting back there is Graham Jarvis.
Now getting ready for bathtub. And this is Gomez.
Pay attention to the head movement. The more comfortable these riders are, the more they look around, and they're always scanning, because Gomez had to look all the way up this hill to pick a line before he gets there. So as they're rolling down, you can see right there, you can see Taddy start to look up the hill, looks back at the track, looks back up the hill, plans his line, and then all of a sudden pulls the trigger and fires his way up the hill.
Ricky, you mentioned the rainfall last night earlier in the show, and you can see in that bowl at the bottom just how wet and slick it is. Blazusiak crests.
The traction is great, Lee, but the riders have to look out for the rain ruts. And so here we see once again Jarvis looking up the hill, plans everything, relaxed, then pulls the trigger. And I love the balance of Graham. He just knows always where the bike is one step ahead, and he pre-jumps and clears the top. He floats the top 30 feet.
Billy Bolt, we saw him earlier when he left the line as part of the second wave. Tina Dixon has more on this young man from the UK.
Guys, I just caught up with Billy Bolt's manager, Julian Stevens, who reminded me that he has only been riding hard enduro since December. He does have that trials background, but that dark horse, that rookie Billy Bolt, looking very strong.
Tina, thank you. We'll keep our eyes on Billy, that's for sure. And Ricky, I can't help but think your comments earlier when you see Graham Jarvis looming in the background. Look out, and he's picking them off one at a time. Gomez is still out in front, however.
Last year, these two went back and forth on wins in hard enduro, and they were teammates. This year, completely separate teams, so it's game on.
And there's not a whole lot of love lost between these two riders either, by the way. So Graham Jarvis really starting to close in on the Spaniard, Alfredo Gomez. Gomez leads ahead of Jarvis with Tadej Blazusiak in third, and we'll have a whole lot more from the Iron Giant when we return to Hare Scramble. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. You are watching Hare Scramble from Erzberg, Austria. And Ricky, it's time to put the focus on the next section of this demanding 20-mile course. It's the section known as Three Kings.
The Three Kings is different in a lot of ways. As you can see, they scale the mountain back and forth with short hill climbs. They're going through the ruts and the on the dirt, and also the roots in the trees. So there's a lot of different elements.
So much to consider, isn't there? And have a look at this. There's been a change at the top. The 5-time Hare Scramble winner, Tadej Blazusiak, now leads. Let's have a listen to hear him climb Three Kings.
With the two-stroke lead, you got to keep it up on the power band, and they'll run a heavier flywheel to keep the momentum going, but you can't let them fall off. They don't have the torque like the four-strokes.
Next up, Alfredo Gomez. Jarvis, who looked a lot more relaxed than Gomez.
Graham Jarvis, very good at management of his body, of his bike, everything. Here we see Wade Young on the Sherco as he has to work his hips forward, his body forward to get that bike up there. That big frame is definitely a hinder when it comes to these big hills.
On board now with one of the men who won last year, Alfredo Gomez. What are his thoughts?
I try to improve my speed as much as I can, and I think we do a good job all the season, and we'll see if on Sunday can pay off.
What I think he wants to say is that someone needs to trim these trees. They keep slapping me in the face, but Gomez off to a great start.
Joachim Lundgren ahead of Cody Webb, and Lundgren is riding with a bout of food poisoning. Can you imagine tackling the Iron Giant when you're not at 100% fitness?
Lee, I've had to do it in Supercross once, in Outdoor Nationals once, and once you're on the bike, the adrenaline takes over, but as soon as you stop, it attacks you and it just makes you want to give up.
Speaking of attacking, in 7th place is the veteran, Paul Bolton. Let's have a look how he gets up Three Kings. Very efficiently is the answer. Now back at Waterpipe, keep in mind 500 begin the day and not too many see the end of the day.
Well, these guys, they can't wait too long because if they do, they're never going to get up there. So they have to take the first shot that they get. But you can see that a lot of the riders really don't have a plan. They're just shooting the bike up the hill and giving it as much gas as they can, but not this guy.
Mario Roman, who is currently 8th in the order. Nicely done at Three Kings. Let's ride with him. The Spaniard is coming back from knee surgery, so this is a huge effort.
Now pay attention to the trees. They look like they're laying down, and take a look off to the left how steep this mountain is. If you drop your wheel by 2 to 3 inches, it could be the end of your day.
And there's a new leader, Graham Jarvis. You flagged it earlier, Ricky, and said if he is coming up on you in the background, look out as we ride with Tadej Blazusiak, now in 2nd. And there's no sight of Graham Jarvis immediately ahead.
At this point, Lee, it's really hard not to get emotional and personal because you have to attack these rocks. You can see how big the boulders are and how these riders have to navigate around. But when you see a rider in front of you, a lot of times you start chasing that rider and you forget about the obstacles that are right in front of you that can take you out.
It is amazing what gets thrown at the riders literally minute by minute, as Graham Jarvis is the new leader at Erzberg. Not quite halfway yet, but they face the dreaded no-help zone when we come back on the other side of this. This is Hare Scramble. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. I'm your host, Sal Masekela, and this is Hare Scramble. No competitor from these United States of America has ever stood on the podium here at Ayresburg. Cody Webb could be the first one to do it. In 2014, Webb finished 10th, just behind his fellow countryman, Taylor Robert. And since then, he's been laying a real groundwork to become a force on this mostly European-dominated circuit. 2015, he claims the Endurocross Championship and recently finished second in the overall Super Enduro World Championship just a few months ago. However, unlike his European counterparts, hard enduro is not Cody's full-time job, as he's attempting to balance his pursuit of higher education with his passion for riding and, of course, winning in that dirt.
Riding isn't going to last forever, unfortunately. We all get old and beat up. But throughout my whole riding career, I've also been a student, really trying to focus on getting a degree. I'm actually just about done right now with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I'm Cody Webb. I race motorcycle professionally, and I'm a student here full-time. I was behind the controls aspect of this project. You know, basically at this point, I'm like a doctor in terms of going to school. It's my 7th year now. I'm 27 years old, so I'm definitely old on the realm of going to school, but I've been living my dream this whole time. I'm not even going to graduation. I take my last final in the morning, and I fly out that night for Ayresburg. So I spent 7 or 8 years going to school, and I'm not even gonna be able to walk, but to be able to have that opportunity to go to Ayresburg, I'm not gonna turn it down, and at least I'll get that piece of paper. I classify myself as an extreme enduro artist, so to speak. Sometimes I'm out riding on the trail, I just kind of go off the beaten path, and I seem to thrive on making lines out of nothing. Honestly, I want to finish on the podium, and I've beat all those guys before here and there, and Americans aren't really known for their extreme enduro abilities, but I think we've been really stepping it up the last couple of years, and I think that'll be a great accomplishment. First time someone from this side of the pond has made a top 3, but